everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the very second half hour of power live stream. And we have with us Mark. Special guest Mark, again, is here with us from the Toys of Time Gone By. How are you, Mark? Mark left us. What's he doing? There he is.
No, I'm here.
How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing all right. How you doing there, Joe?
Excellent. So we are going to talk about The Wizard of Oz. And I recently rewatched this movie. And lo and behold, here comes through my feed an article from Screenrant.
Yeah.
That says, The Wizard of Oz, 5 Ways the classic movie has aged poorly, and 5 reasons it's timeless. What? So it's Screenrant. So, you know, Jesse and I always had this. I would always send him some Screenrant articles, and then we would talk about them, and he would say, I think you like reading that because it makes you mad. I think you look at that because it makes you mad. And he would tell me about a podcast that he would listen to, and he would say the same. He goes, I listen to this podcast because it makes me mad. But we're talking about it. So,
yes,
Mark,
sir.
Wizard of Oz. You've seen The Wizard of Oz, I take it.
Oh, absolutely. Many, many, many times, and I love it. Wonderful film.
Yeah.
For family and every generation.
Yeah, I love The Wizard of Oz. It's a fantastic movie. And some of you are going, Joe, you and Jesse and even Mark would talk all about horror movies. I mean, I'm drinking a coffee.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th mug. Like, how can you love The Wizard of Oz? I love movies. I'm a movie nerd. So that, I mean, that means all kinds of movies, right? So, I did recently rewatch. Now, the other thing is Shudder, which you recently got, right?
Yeah, I have Shudder now, yes.
Shudder subscription. Shudder has a fantastic series, which you haven't started to watch yet, right?
I haven't started yet.
Yeah, so because you just recently got the subscription.
Yes, I had. I just got it.
So
it's got a couple of different ones in it.
Yeah, so it's got the whole Cursed Films, which is fascinating series. So this is the second season that they just released the first episode for the second season, and that episode just happens to be The Wizard of Oz.
And I have to watch that. I mean,
did you get a chance to watch that?
Watch about Huh?
Did you get a chance to watch at least that episode, The Wizard of Oz?
I didn't watch it yet, but I understand. I know about the curses of the Wizard of Oz. I've seen things about it before, about what curses they had filming it. Well, but I don't think they're really curses.
Yeah, you're right. I'm glad that's where you were going, because I was going to bring that up. The curses, I mean, it had production troubles, but what movie doesn't have production troubles? Every movie has production troubles.
Well, Poltergeist,
Poltergeist is on the cursed movies.
Yeah.
I mean, Richard Donner's The Omen was in the first season, and he said, I don't think this was a cursed movie. I think this was a blessed movie.
I don't feel I think they just make it. I think they say
it's probably about production troubles, things that go on behind the scenes that are detrimental to the making of the movie. But all the movies, they did get made. So I mean, it's a fascinating series, especially for people who want to know about the making of movies, what happens behind the scenes, what happened here, stuff like that. So if you haven't seen that, check that out, and I know you're going to. But
Definitely going to watch that.
Let's bring up this article here, Mark. What do you say? Should we bring this article up and we'll just kind of look at it with people so we can see how? I think this article's cursed.
Maybe so.
Let's bring it up. The cursed article. There we are. So, Wizard of Oz, 5 Ways, the classic movie. Okay, so now I read this and I think I dropped my phone on the floor and just my mouth dropped because it was like, wow, one of the most idiotic articles I've seen. And Screenrant, I mean, you know what? I love Screenrant. They got a lot of idiotic articles, just a lot of idiotic stuff. But every once in a while, there's an article that slips through on Screenrant. It's like, that was really good. That one was really well written, and I really liked it. But most of them are like this. So let's take a look here. So here we go with the 10. Number 10, aged poorly. The special effects, including dousing horses in Jell-O.
What do they expect? What do they expect?
Jell-O. All right.
For the time. I get it.
Yeah. Let's let that sink in. They put Jell-O on horses. So that means the movie's aged poorly. So now let's look at a movie that's a little bit more recent.
Yeah.
You saw Quest for Fire.
Quest for Fire. Who's that? Who's in that one? Who's in that one?
Is in that.
Huh?
Radon Chong is in that. They took elephants and dressed them up as mammoths. You know, they put carpets on top of elephants. On top of elephants. So does that?
Well, they.
Did that movie age poorly because of that? I mean Jell-O. So what do they say about Jell-O? Oh, these days it's incredibly important to have live animals handled with care and respect, but they slathered this with Jell-O. Okay, so they covered the horse with Jell-O. Yeah. Even though it was armless, the scenes were shot too quickly because the horses caught on. Okay, so the horses were eating the Jell-O off of their bodies. All right.
All right.
The Jell-O didn't harm them. I think the scenes are fine.
No.
I think the horses look great. It's a horse of a different color. I say that
they look incredible.
I'll say that to people all the time. And they'll say, well, I wanted to do this, Joe. Well, that's a horse of a different color. Why didn't you say so? I mean,
at least they didn't spray paint them.
I'm always quoting The Wizard of Oz a lot of the times. It's so funny to think about how often I do quote The Wizard of Oz, but I don't think that is a valid reason. What do you think, Mark? Am I being too hard on Screenrant, or is that?
That's not.
What do you think?
Huh?
Is that
a valid
reason for the movie to have aged poorly?
No, they just used what they could at the time. It's practicality, and that's what they did. And it didn't harm the horses. At least the horses, got something to eat, or
some delicious.
They got a little treat. It's okay. Yeah. I mean, I find it fun. It looks great to see. The color is cool, and it didn't harm the horses. So what's so wrong with it? You just use what you have that you could do, and there was no other way to do it. You don't want to paint the horses purple.
All right, yeah. So here you go with the timeless. This is why it's timeless. It has colorful cinematography. Huh?
I'm thinking for the time, right?
Well, I mean,
is that what they mean?
It's in color. I mean, the cinematography. I think the cinematography is great. I think the film looks great. I think the colors are vibrant. The colors they fit the fantasy world they're trying to create. Yeah. I don't really get why that makes it timeless, but okay. I suppose it could because probably because of the use of black and white and color right next to each other, but they're just talking about just because they used color. So
Most people didn't see it back then. They had black and white TVs.
Well, most people when they first saw this back then, it was it was in the theater. This was 1939. So, well, what do you think about that? Is that a valid reason because it had colorful cinematography?
I think if you think about the way, I guess, I'm not 100% sure the way they're thinking, but I was thinking just because of the time period where many movies, like there wasn't any use of like color back then in the 30s.
Yeah.
So maybe they mean it's so timeless because it actually you can actually watch it now, and it's beautifully colored. You know what I mean? The movie just has beautiful, vibrant colors, even to now. It's not black and white. That's what they probably mean. It's not black and white throughout the whole movie, and it could come into this, I guess, this time period and still be a relevant type of movie, and be a classic type of movie that everybody would want to still watch. You know?
That could be. That could be. All right, you ready to move on?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Oh, scrolling through. Oh, aged poorly. The witch's makeup was toxic.
Oh. Okay.
Now they talked about the toxic makeup in the Shudder Cursed Films episode. And I think we've all heard the story of the Tin Man. His makeup was toxic. So Buddy Ebsen was cast as the Tin Man originally. And what happened is what was it? It was the powder that they put on his face. So if I remember this correctly, and when you watch the episode, it will correct any mistakes I make in trying to retell this, but it was got some slathered on him, and then he was doused in silver powder, I believe, and it floated in the air, so he just started breathing all of that in, and he got his lungs coated in that powder. So that was toxic. Yeah, that was pretty rough. Now, I don't remember if they went so far on her makeup being toxic, but maybe it was. I mean, maybe that was toxic. I mean, I don't know, but I don't know that just because I think when I think about this, I'm trying to think about just the movie itself, not the techniques that were used when it was made. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they had some toxic makeup because they didn't do this type of stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Does that mean that the movie is aged poorly, or you know what I mean? There are some movies that really have aged poorly, and we've talked about some of those on our show. But the Wicked Witch herself looks fantastic. She's scary. Margaret Hamilton did a fantastic job as the Wicked Witch, and you can see the depth that Screenrant goes into. It's just this, it's just this here little small paragraph, and then this other really small paragraph. So that's one of the things about Screenrant is that they don't go into too much depth, and they really could go into more depth on it. But they're talking about how her face stayed green for weeks due to the copper-based ingredients, and that's not what would happen today. Makeup is much more safe today. It's safer and healthier. Okay, yeah, sure it is, but what do you think about that, Mark?
Well, back then, they just used what they had, like you were saying. You know what I mean? It's just practical. Whatever they use is practical to them. So they had no idea what was going to happen with his makeup. They had no idea that it was going to do that. So, as you're in the movie business, you learn different techniques and newer techniques that they use. But what are you going to do? It did actually. What happened to him? He couldn't even do the movie. So
Yeah,
after that, it's just kind of like, huh?
Yeah,
he
he
couldn't
did
do
have
the movie.
withdrawal, so. But do you think that
So
because they were experimenting with makeup and didn't understand or didn't know that some of it was dangerous to the actors, does that mean the movie is aged poorly?
no, I just don't. I just think that they didn't really know what was what they were using at the time, and so they used it just just purposes that it was there. Maybe it was just there, and like, oh yeah, let's get this powder. Let's just get this silver dust powder and put it on him. Let's just try that out. It's like trial and
Yeah.
error, I mean, they didn't just know. They don't have the stringent like Hollywood has now, like the rules and all these. You can't use this. You can't use that. Everything is all it's checked out. And back then they didn't do that.
Yeah.
You know,
So that is another strike against Screenrant. Is that what you're telling me? They struck out again
well,
on
because
that?
they don't understand. Screenrant doesn't understand that. They're just looking at a perspective of today's standard. They don't understand what it was going on back then. That they didn't. They really didn't. You can't write an article and say, you have to write an article with like sort of like an open mind. You can't just say, oh well, that aged poorly because of the makeup. It's toxic. But how is that age poorly because the makeup is toxic?
I
The
don't know.
film doesn't age because of that.
Yeah, I don't think they did a good job of making the argument on that. So here's the next one: Timeless, the wardrobe. It's a fantastic wardrobe. The costumes in this movie are fantastic. I mean, you can see right there. Dorothy,
I'd wear that.
You can see the Good Witch, Glinda's costume, and you can see some of the Munchkins there in the flowers. So, which Munchkin costume were you talking about that you would wear?
Oh, I'd wear that dress, that big dress in the Glenda's dress. I'd wear it.
Wear Glinda's dress? That's probably because it would remind you of being the sorceress.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, the costumes are fantastic. So there we are. Let's move on to the next one. Aged poorly. Certain scenes cause injuries on set. How does that make a movie age poorly? I mean, what movie has there never been any injuries on set? I'm sure there are some. I'm sure there are. I'm sure there probably are a lot more than we would think. But especially if you're doing an action movie, right? There's going to be some injury. So there's a movie that involves some stunts. Maybe the stunt man gets injured, gets bruised. Some injuries, of course, are worse than others. But here you go on about the whole actors and actresses get hurt, and that means it's I just don't understand. I mean, they do say in the article here, a lot of these special effects haven't been done before, so there were many, many unknowns. There weren't any unions, so production companies could even get away with all of that. I mean, even George Reeves, when he was playing Superman, his harness broke, and he got hurt. So that was quite a few years later. But I mean, some of these people did get hurt doing that. Some of the stunt people got hurt. Some of the main actors got hurt. But I don't think that means that the movie aged poorly. What do you think?
Yeah, it's the same thing. They just don't understand that they were trying new things back then, and they didn't have anything perfected. So, and of course, even to this day, like you were saying, people still get hurt in movies, doing movies. There's no guarantee. So, Screenrant, again, missing the point here is the fact that back then, many things they tried so many different things. So, of course, maybe you don't want anybody to get hurt. You don't want the actors to get hurt, but unfortunately, it does happen, and it's just kind of a risk that they take when they're doing these stunts.
All right,
like like even the Wicked Witch. Remember the stunt she went down into the floor?
There was that where Margaret Hamilton got burned because that was not timed well. And there is once she got out of the hospital for that, she was supposed to sit on the broom and do the skywriting scene. And there was like a little engine on the back of the broom and it was going to shoot fire. And she said she wouldn't do that. So they put the stunt person on there and it backfired. It I think it exploded. And I think a piece of shrapnel went into the leg of the stunt lady that was doing that. So, but that's not, that's terrible, but that's not a new thing. That still happens today, stuff like that. So, yeah.
Again,
wait do you see that on that episode of Cursed Films when they talk about that? It's pretty. So here we are with Timeless, the relevance of the storyline. All right. I think so.
That's a good one.
I think that's true. It's still, I've shown this movie to my kids and I still enjoy it and still find new things in it myself at my age now. And I remember watching that when I was a kid. How about you?
Yeah, I remember it was an event. We would watch the movie whenever it came out on TV, and it was like a yearly thing at the time. And we would just be in front of the TV waiting for the Wizard of Oz to come on, and it was amazing because it's not like we had all these. I can watch it anytime I want now, and had all these tablets and phones and computers to stream it. We couldn't do it back then, and it was so special, to watch it. So this movie is definitely a timeless movie. It has relevance even to this day. It's one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Let's see where we're at now. We are at Aged Poorly. The characters are creepy.
What?
No. The characters are creepy. You see that? Isn't that wonderful?
Wow.
Well,
wait,
if you remember this part of the article, this is why they say they're creepy. Scarecrow, Cowardly Lion, and Tin Man ate in their dressing rooms on break instead of the dining hall to avoid scaring the public. So
what?
Because their costumes were so good, and because the Cowardly Lion's makeup was so good, it would scare people. So that
makes no sense.
The movie has aged poorly, but the movie is it blows my mind, that one. I don't even know what to say about that, because as a kid I was never afraid of the Cowardly Lion or the Tin Man or the Scarecrow. How about you?
No, they were very likable characters. I never was afraid of them. They were awesome.
Now,
why would
here is something that they don't mention here, Mark. There were flying monkeys.
Yeah.
Those things were scary because they picked everybody up, and they could pick up Dorothy. The flying monkey.
Yeah.
Those were scary. I think they're cool looking now. They're pretty cool now, but
I was never afraid of them.
I didn't want to get picked up by a flying monkey. Did you?
No, but I was never afraid of the flying monkeys.
Yeah, but
they didn't scare me.
Yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying is they don't mention the flying monkeys in here. They mention that the Tin Man and those guys had to go eat somewhere out of public view. So that means the movie has aged poorly. Wow.
Maybe they had to eat out of public view. Maybe they're missing the mark there. Maybe they had to eat out of public view so nobody could see what they were, I guess, who they were.
Yeah.
Maybe that was the real truth.
Some of that, too, was they didn't want to mess up their makeup. Some of that.
Yeah, that's
You ready? Here we go. Number 3, nostalgia nostalgic aspects. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. All right. I think the songs are still good. I enjoy the songs, the singing, the dancing. It's good.
Absolutely. Very, very melodic. Very melodic music. Amazing music.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't really go into much. You can see how small these two paragraphs are. They don't really talk about much. So, I don't know. Maybe you don't need to say much about it, but all right.
It's a wonderful score. A wonderful music score.
Oh, what is that? Aged poorly. All the munchkins have passed away.
Well,
okay.
Well,
I don't even know what to say about that. I don't even, let's just leave that where that is. I mean, we're doing this in 2022. This article came out in 2020. So what is that? What is that? That is one of the laziest little pieces of, what is this? Everybody is dead who did anything in this movie. So that means the movie aged poorly. What is that?
That makes no sense at all.
You're speechless too. I know. Here, okay, let's go down to number 1. Okay, advanced technology for its time. So it's praising the special effects. Oh my gosh, that wizard there.
That's amazing.
Looks awesome.
That you know what's funny about this? I think you see that wizard, the way the floating head is and all that. It really reminds me of when remember when Star Trek in the beginning, that alien?
Yes.
It feels like that they took from the Wizard of Oz, Star Trek. Now that I look at that,
you are referencing, if I remember right, you're referencing the Star Trek episode where in the end it's revealed that that is a puppet that is controlled by your favorite actor of all time and your good friend, Clint Howard.
Clint Howard.
That's right. The
yes,
best.
He is. He's the best.
So
he brings me ice cream.
Yeah. So there you go. The best. So we have gone through that Screenrant article. Sometimes you look at that Screenrant stuff and I feel stupider for having read that. That is one of those articles. How about you, Mark?
Yeah, well, after even like an hour after this broadcast, I'll feel stupid.
Yeah,
I'll feel even stupid.
We just wanted to bring all of you guys a little bit of stupid. So
the hero of the stupid.
Yeah, it's not bad enough that the people that do watch this have to see us. Sorry, you have to see us.
Oh boy!
But yeah, so now we bring you a stupid Screenrant article. So, and I'm sure we'll find some more. And if I find some that I'm like, man, I'd like to talk about that, we'll do that again. Hey, Mark. So we're talking about the Wizard of Oz, and you are the Toys of Time going by. Now, when I was a kid, I had some Migos, and Mego made Wizard of Oz. Migos.
Yes.
We had, I should say, not just me, but the family. We had all of these, the Tin Man, Dorothy, Scarecrow, Cowardly Lion, the Wicked Witch, and Emerald City.
Oh, you had the Emerald City?
Yeah. Did you ever see those or have any of those?
I've seen them, never owned them.
Those were fantastic.
And the Emerald City was made out of was like that cardboard laminate type of cardboard.
Yes, it was very much like the Enterprise, the Mego Enterprise playset.
In which I owned.
Yes, that is very, very. I would. I think it would be cool if you could do a show on your Star Trek bridge, your Mego Star Trek. Yeah, that would be cool.
I do have it.
But when you do that, you should get one of the Wizard of Oz Migos and put them on
the bridge. Beam them up from the Emerald City.
Yeah.
I did
get them out. So you know how does Dorothy go home? She has to be beamed up to the Enterprise, and the Enterprise takes her home.
No place like home. There's no place like home. But I do have a show on the bridge.
Yes.
I do have a show if you look in my YouTube channel.
Yeah, so check Mark out. Mark is from the Toys of the Time Gone By. So go and check him out. Thank you very much for being on this, Mark, and having some of your brain melt out of your head. And this is the half hour of power, our very second live stream. So I don't know. I guess if we keep having fun, we'll keep doing these. And you can also go and listen to Mark as a frequent guest on the Half Hour of Power podcast, which is available on Anchor and Spotify and all of that. So we will talk to you guys later on.